Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're exploring something a bit off the beaten path, something that, well, it might just change how you think about wine. Picture this, a kind of golden elixir, steeped in some really old traditions, but also, surprisingly, linked to modern wellness ideas. It's, yeah, a sip of history and honestly, a really delightful surprise.
Exactly. And our mission today really is to cut through all the chatter and give you the core insights on apricot wine. We'll look at what makes it unique, dig into its cultural history, and check out those potential health perks, all based on the sources we've gathered. Should be some real aha moments, I think.
Okay, so let's unpack this apricot wine thing because, when we say wine, most people, myself included, we immediately think grapes, right? Red, white, rosé. But this is, well, it's different. It's made from fermented apricots. And right away, you see it in the color, that really distinctive, beautiful, golden, almost amber color. And the smell, wow, it's naturally fruity. You get these lovely hints of flowers, maybe some citrus. And often it has this nice, approachable sweetness, makes it super easy to get into, even if you're not like a big wine drinker usually.
Right. And why apricots matter here is, well, it's key, from both a nutritional angle and how it's actually made. Apricots themselves, they're packed with good stuff. Vitamins, fiber, they're nutritionally dense stone fruits. And what's kind of amazing is how much of that carries over despite the fermentation, especially when it's made by smaller artisan producers. See, unlike a lot of big commercial wineries, these folks often focus on simpler methods, really trying to preserve the fruit's natural character. This usually gives you that nice balance, a bit sweet, a bit tart, maybe those subtle floral notes. It's a great introduction to fruit wines in general. And yeah, those antioxidants apricots have, a good chunk of them do make it into the finished wine.
Right, right. And that's the part that really grabs me, how it holds on to that original fruit goodness, even after becoming, well, wine. Because talking about health benefits from alcohol, it almost sounds, a bit too good to be true sometimes. How real are these advantages compared to just, say, eating an apricot? Is it a huge difference?
That's a fair question. And look, it's definitely not a replacement for eating the whole fruit. Let's be clear on that. But compared to a lot of other alcoholic drinks, apricot wine does seem to offer some nutritional pluses. What's quite interesting is you often find measurable beta-carotene, which, your body turns into vitamin A, good for eyes, immunity. You'll get some vitamin C too, less than the fresh fruit, obviously, but it's there. And potassium, which is important for heart health, blood pressure regulation. Plus, there are natural enzymes in these things called polyphenols, which might have anti-inflammatory effects. There's a great quote from one source. Apricot wine brings together the pleasure of a good pour with the quiet support of fruit-based wellness. And again, it comes back to those simpler, gentler production methods, helping to keep these compounds intact. Minimal processing seems key.
Okay, so what's the bottom line for someone listening? Can having a glass of this stuff actually, fit into a healthy lifestyle? Because that sweetness you mentioned, it sounds lovely, but maybe a bit too easy to drink.
Yeah. That's a really important point.
Mhm.
Moderation is absolutely crucial here. More so, perhaps, than with some drier wines.
Yeah.
We're talking small amounts.
Yeah.
Maybe a 4 or 5 ounce glass a few times a week.
Yeah.
That seems to be the sweet spot suggested.
Right. Not a nightly bottle.
Definitely not. But yeah, enjoyed sensibly. As part of an overall balanced approach, the sources suggest it can support wellness. If you can get to the wider picture, there's some compelling potential benefits. Those polyphenols and the potassium, they might help with cardiovascular health, keeping blood vessels working well, sort of similar effects researchers see with moderate red wine consumption, actually. And the antioxidants from the fruit itself, the skins and pulp, they help fight off free radicals. So potential cell protection there. Plus, just the act of relaxing with a glass in a nice setting can help with the stress. And those enzymes we mentioned offer possible anti-inflammatory action. As our sources say, like other fruit wines, apricot wine shows promise in supporting cardiovascular and cellular health when consumed responsibly. But, and it's a big but, any research on moderate wine drinking shows this fine line. The benefits versus risks really hinge on how much and how often you drink, plus your own individual health.
That makes sense. Okay, so we understand its unique points, but the big question, I guess, is how does it really compare to, regular grape wine, Chardonnay Merlot, the stuff everyone knows? What are the main differences if you're thinking of trying it?
Right, yeah, that's important because they really are quite distinct. The obvious one is the base fruit, stone
Right.
fruit, apricots versus grapes. That changes everything. Then there's sweetness. Apricot wine often has more natural sugar, leans sweeter. Grape wines, well, they run the whole gamut from bone dry to very sweet. Antioxidants are different too. Apricot wine has its flavonoids. Grape wines are famous for tannins. That's what can give red wine that drying feeling, plus resveratrol and other kinds of polyphenols. Different compounds, different potential effects.
So the feel in your mouth is different too.
Oh, definitely. Apricot wine tends to be softer, mellow, maybe. More approachable, I'd say. Less of that sometimes sharp tannic bite you get with many grape wines. And here's a big one, alcohol content. Apricot wine is often lower, maybe 8 to 12%. Grape wines, usually more like 11 to 15%, sometimes higher.
Ah, okay. That could be a plus for some people.
For sure. If you're looking for moderation or just something lighter, that lower alcohol can be appealing. It really does make it a great entry point for people new to wine or just anyone who prefers something, less intense and astringent.
Okay, so we've looked inside the glass at the science, the comparisons, but there's more to it, right? Like, how do you actually enjoy it best? And what about its history, its story? And importantly, we should probably touch on the flip side too.
Hmm.
Any potential downsides or things to watch out for?
Absolutely. Because appreciating it fully means understanding the whole context. And yeah, how you enjoy it matters. Did you know that pairing it smartly with food can actually sort of boost the experience and maybe even help manage the effects? Eating slows down alcohol absorption, helps nutrient uptake.
Oh, interesting. Like, what kind of food works well?
Well, its sweet tart thing makes it pretty versatile. It's apparently fantastic with soft, creamy cheeses, think brie, camembert,
Hmm.
that kind of thing. Also really good with spiced or nutty desserts, maybe baklava, almond cake, and lighter meats like roasted chicken or grilled pork, even simple picnic stuff, olives, cured meats, good bread.
Okay, I'm getting hungry now.
Yeah. And serve it slightly chilled, maybe around 50-55 Fahrenheit. That keeps the aromas nice and fresh and kind of tones down the sweetness a bit, which might help with drinking it sensibly too. And culturally, this isn't some new fad. It's got deep roots. We're talking centuries back in places like Armenia, Georgia, Central Asia. It was often a seasonal thing tied to the apricot harvest. A way to preserve the fruit, yeah, but also valued in local traditions, sometimes for wellness. The traditional methods were often really simple, minimal intervention, which likely helped keep more of the fruit's natural qualities. Historically, people apparently used it for things like digestion, maybe as a mild antiseptic, or just a celebratory drink. But we need to be clear, these were traditional uses, not proven medical treatments.
Got it. Important distinction. Okay, now the cautions. What do people need to keep in mind?
Right. So, like any alcohol, moderation is paramount. But with apricot wine, a couple of things stand out. First, that potentially higher sugar content we talked about. If you're watching sugar intake or calories or managing blood sugar, that's something to be aware of. And like you said, the sweetness can make it easy to drink more than you intend.
Uh-huh.
Then there's the alcohol itself. Standard warnings apply potential interactions with medications, risks of overconsumption canceling out any benefits and adding health problems. And everyone tolerates alcohol differently. That's always a factor.
So the standard advice applies.
Pretty much. General medical guidelines often suggest limiting wine to 1 5-ounce glass a day for women, maybe 2 for men, if you drink at all. And the absolute crucial advice, if you have any health conditions, if you're pregnant, taking medications, talk to your doctor before adding any alcohol, including this, to your routine. Always best to check.
All right, so if someone's listening and thinking, okay, I'm intrigued, where can I actually find this stuff? Or maybe even, could I make it myself? What's the scoop?
Finding it might take a little more digging than grabbing a standard bottle off the shelf, but it's definitely doable. Your best bet might be local wineries that specialize in fruit wines, if you have any nearby. They often make amazing stuff. Also, check out artisanal wine clubs or specialty wine shops, the kind that focus on unique or imported bottles. Sometimes you can find it at farmers markets, especially in areas where apricots grow. And online retailers who deal in specialty or, say, European wines might carry it too. You just have to look around a bit.
And making it at home, is that realistic?
For the really key, yeah, it's definitely an option. It's more involved, obviously.
Yeah.
Needs patience and some basic gear. But it's a cool way to connect with that tradition, and you control everything. The sugar, the purity, no additives unless you want them. It's basically fermenting fresh apricots with sugar and specific wine yeast. You can find detailed recipes and guides online from homebrewing folks. It takes time, weeks for fermentation, months for aging to get it really smooth. But the payoff is this really unique, homemade, potentially quite pure drink. It's a project for sure, but kind of fascinating.
Wow, what a journey into apricot wine. It really is this interesting mix, isn't it? Pleasure, tradition, potential wellness. But it all circles back to that key idea. Mindful enjoyment, moderation. That seems to be the secret sauce for getting the best out of it. It's a great reminder that sometimes looking beyond the usual suspects can lead to some really cool discoveries.
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? In a world that's so focused on the mainstream stuff, what other overlooked, culturally rich drinks out there might hold surprising keys to both enjoyment and maybe even well-being? Something to think about.